Okay, so I'm going to show you the Ruby portable video magnifiers. I've got two devices with me today. One is called the Ruby XL HD and the other one is called the Ruby 7 HD. As I mentioned before, they're portable video magnifiers, so they both work on similar technology. They also have very similar controls, but there's a couple of things that are different, so I'll go through those as I talk to you about them. First of all of the controls on the Rubies are on either edge of the screen. They're very high contrast and they also have little markers on them, so they're very tactile buttons as well. I'll just start these up for you so you can have a look, see what happens. There's a power button inset in the top here, which I'm going to press for the Ruby 7 HD, which is the larger device. Or you can actually use the stand, which is what I'm going to do with the XL HD, to open it, and that will also turn it on automatically. When the devices are on, they're using their camera to project an image onto the screen. So on the XL HD, your camera's in the top edge here, and the same for the 7 HD, your camera is this ridged area on the top, and then they're projecting the image onto the screen here. So these have been designed to read printed text, so whatever you place under them will then be projected onto the screen. The idea being you can then move the device along the words to read or across the images to have a look at them, so you move the device and not the paper underneath. Once the image is on the screen, you can then manipulate it. As I mentioned before, these buttons are very similar on both of the devices. So starting with the, my left hand edge, your right hand edge, you can change the magnification on both of these to suit the sight condition of the person that's using them. So there's a plus sign which you can press to go up in magnification, and the same on the 7 HD. And there's a minus sign below that which you can use to go down in magnification. These start at a ×2 level of magnification and go up to a ×24. And you may have noticed there that it's a very smooth motion as it goes up and down in magnification. That means that you can adjust it as incrementally as you need to in order to get it to the right level of size. You can also adjust the colour contrast, so again, depending on the person, depending on their sight condition, maybe dependent on the environment they're using these in, you can also change the colours, and that's the buttons on the opposite side to the magnification buttons, the ones with the arrows on. Both of these, the up and down arrows, will just cycle you through the colour options, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So if I do this on the 7 HD, you can see we've got a yellow on black option, yellow on blue, white and black on white, then back to true colour. These are just the options I've got unlocked on these devices here. You can actually unlock a whole range of different options depending on the person. So you can have as few options or as many options as you like, depending on what they prefer, what they find most comfortable to read. There's just one other button that's similar on each device, which I'll touch on here, and that's a button with a little camera on, which sits above the magnification button on the 7 HD, that sits below the decrease in magnification button on the XL HD, and that's the camera button, or the freeze button. So actually if you press it once, what it's going to do is freeze the image. So I can now move the device away from what it was looking at, and it will retain the picture or the image on the screen. So if you want to retain that but then share the information with somebody else who doesn't need a video magnifier, you can do that. But what you can also do with a press and hold of the freeze button is save the image to the device itself, and you can save about 100 images to the device. Then there's also, and the same for both of these, there's also a mini USB port which you can then use to connect via a USB cable to a laptop in order to transfer the images from the device to another storage device. Then we start moving into things that are slightly different about each of the two Rubies. First of all, with the Ruby XL HD, we've noticed we've got a little kickstand here which holds the device at a nice comfortable angle to read with. What you also have with the Ruby XL HD is a little handle which is built in at the bottom here, which means that you can hold it a bit more like a glass magnifier. So if you have somebody that's used to using a glass magnifier, is used to the action of holding it, the magnifier above a piece of paper or above whatever it is they're trying to look at, then using the handle might be a more comfortable and a more natural option for them. So that tucks away under there with the Ruby XL HD. With the Ruby 7 HD, we have a rotating camera. So we've got the kickstand, but we have no handle, but we do have a rotating camera. And what this means is that you can actually adjust the image, adjust the focus of the camera, and actually rotate it so it then does a distance view. So if you've got somebody that needs to see something in the distance, like a board or a presentation, they can rotate the camera to point at something in the distance and then use the buttons to either save that image of the thing in the distance to then enlarge and look at later, or to change the magnification levels or even the colour contrasts to watch it in a live mode in a way that's more comfortable for them or more accessible for them. Both of these devices run on battery. They both last about 4.5 hours. They take about 2.5 to 3 hours to charge. They both come with a charger that you plug in again just by where I showed the USB port was on the side here. You can also, with the with the 7 HD, is use an HDMI port which sits just above the mini USB port to connect it to a much larger monitor. So if you have somebody that wants to use things at a maybe slightly lower level of magnification but get more words in, you could connect it to a much larger monitor and they would be able to do that. But that's the Ruby 7 HD and the Ruby XL HD. Perfect for students who might be using things, reading handouts in a classroom or looking at diagrams in a classroom. We probably wouldn't using them for long periods of reading, so definitely things where they've got little bits of information that they need to pick up on. And that's the Rubies.